Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Upper Allen Township Park and Recreation Advisory Board meeting for June 25th. If I could ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I would like to mention that this meeting is live streamed via Zoom for those that wish to see it. A recording of this session will be made available on YouTube after the fact, and you can access that tomorrow at some point on the township website. It's very easy to find. I'd like to do a roll call, starting my left as usual.
Nick Christie.
Jason Sapoznik.
Lauren Sanker.
Jeff Williams.
Christina Dryden.
Dan Harrison.
Tim Wendling. Jack Krebs. Eddie Mayer.
Rick Castronio.
Eric Fairchild.
Thank you all. Are there any changes to the minutes? Do we have any adjustments? Everybody okay with it?
Mr. Williams, I happened to notice something, but maybe you guys have a.
Pardon me?
I happened to notice a couple of things in the minutes. Not that they're my minutes. I generally don't say anything.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm older. I guess I didn't hear you clearly.
I said I noticed a couple of things in the minutes. The percentage of green space at Generations Park was reported at 87%. I think the actual number is 83.41%. I think that was under Ms. Miller's comments.
Okay.
And I don't know if that could just be a note or something. I don't know if it contradicts what she said. And then the other one was the public input session. I think it should be plural. Since there were 4 sessions, it should be plural. That's
Okay.
all that I noticed, but thank you.
Any objections to those changes? A motion with those changes? Anybody want to make that for me
Motion?
Second.
with the changes?
Correct.
Please say it.
With the changes.
Thank-
Second with the changes.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Commission. Chairman's announcements. This is bittersweet for me, and you're very patient with the amount that I talk, but we are losing Mr. Scott Frazier as he moves on to other things. I think it needs to be publicly stated how much he has had an effect on our parks system. I remember talking to him 10 years ago, discussing grants, particularly through DCNR. And I said, I know a couple people there that do the grades, and I do know that they give extra points for ADA and accessibility and inclusion. So you might take that in consideration when you submit a grant. You can see the results of the grants, not from what I said to him, but because he took that idea and put it into almost every grant, everything that we do. Most people don't know that Scott Frazier is responsible for the dog park. It is 7 years old in another week or so when we opened. I had given him some information from another agency with permission, including a footprint that Mr. Castronio was kind enough to have his agency help with a little bit. But Scott pulled that whole thing off. The board was supportive. That park is constantly used. Even today, there's somebody out there that is a little different because it's 92 degrees when I left the house and they have a dog out there. But that was the first thing. Winding Hills, that's to his credit. He went and he asked me, do you know a vendor that has a maze or some kind of sensory maze? I had no idea. I've been out of the industry for quite a few years. And he found it, and that is at Winding Hills North. All of our parks that he's worked on since then, first as assistant township manager, and now I know he supports staff and Tim as manager. A lot of that credit goes to him. This board's supportive and advisory, but the work was done a lot by Mr. Frazier. I will personally and professionally miss him, and I just feel I wanted this put in the public record, and I will show up at a future Board of Commissioners meeting and pretty much say the same thing, because I think our parks are excellent, and Scott has a major, major part in that. Thank you. I want to thank Jason for a couple months ago, as he looked on social media, we saw someone interested that had was hearing impaired and really couldn't come to meetings or see, understand what was going on because they just flat out couldn't hear. And Jason took it on his back to go to the township, and thank you, staff, for even now all the words I'm running out of the mouth for are being printed at the bottom of the screen. And I thank you for that. That was very rapid response. And other than that, I signed up for our new our park passport thing today, so I'm going to be working on that. Maybe we'll hear about that a little more later. Do we have any public comments? I know we've had baseball tournaments and softball tournaments. Anybody have anything to share tonight? Sir, Mr. Salter. Uh-oh, he's got notes. Sorry.
Not a problem. Jim Salter, up around Mechanicsburg softball. I live at 8 Bradford Court. I'm the president of Up Around Mechanicsburg Girls Softball. So tonight, just a couple things. One, happy to announce that the dugouts on fields 1 and 2 will officially begin constructing with our capital campaign that we did. We have enough money now to be able to start the construction of them. R&S Fence will be doing the perimeter of the fence for them, and then the shelters go on. It'll be a fabric top with the fencing on there, but that is going to start on July the 19th. One thing I need to ask is for permission or what I need to do for a permit in order to get those constructed. Am I going to have to pay for a permit or just inquiring on staff?
No, just we'll have to fill out a permit, but we don't ever charge any of the groups for that stuff.
Okay, so I just wanted to get that on the record for, the permit to start on field 1 and field 2, the 2 fields that have the barriers there. Because our capital campaign is doing well, better now and doing well to be able to start that project. So we'll have those completed by the fall season. We just opened registration for girls softball for the fall season. Registration closes on August 1st. Team counts are due by August 8th, and our season starts on August the 24th, Sunday, August the 24th. A couple things of note for the fall season. Traditionally, we have in the past played Sundays only because it gets dark at night or dark during the day rather quick, and we don't have no lights. This year we will, with some donations and a donor, we will be having lights, temporary lights put up at field 1 for all season. They're going to be left from the Township Fall Fest, but the lights will be up there at field 1 to permit the girls to play longer in the fall and play during the weeknights so that they can get more games in. So that's one note there. The second thing, as far as the fall season goes, traditionally, again, we've done on Saturdays or Sundays only, but we will be shifting to a Saturday-Sunday time frame there. And so you'll be seeing more activity on the weekends. There are 1 or 2 games played at the 4 fields that we historically just played on Sundays. One thing we are going to be doing is the fields, like right now, we've been waiting and I know it's on order, but we've been waiting for some Turfis or some Dymatex to be put on the fields. Right now, they're excruciating, basically, the wind blows it off there that, you know, everybody considers that not winding hills. They call that windy hills. The wind blows that Dymatex right off. We could find a lot of it in the dugouts that we sweep off, but we need to soften that up for the girls to be able to do that. We received, at the last West Shore Miners meeting, we received lots of complaints, girls sliding, getting road rash because of the fields being hard. We rake it, we drag it, we do everything we can, but once you get past the Dymatex that's there, it's basically just dirt. And you can see now in field one, the fabric is actually coming up through the field, meaning the layer of Dymatex and everything that's on there, the regular stuff that the girls are supposed to play on is gone. So we're going to purchase some MVP Turfis. We're going to purchase 90 bags of that. It's going to cost us $13.50 a bag to lay down in that. Also, we have several areas that are drainage issues where if it rains, we can't get on the field and play for 2 days until it drains off and dries. So we have to address that. So we're going to purchase that. That's going to cost us about $1,200. So we are going to approach, just like the boys baseball did, we are going to send a letter in. We spent for the fields, for all 4 fields, our permit would be $1,000. That's what we spent. So we're going to ask for that recouped back on the money that we're spending to add the bags of MVP Turfis on the fields. We're going to request that back just like boys baseball did. So I'll put that in a letter and get that over to the township manager to do that. Also, we are supporting Fall Fest as well. And we also will be helping out, providing concessions for the 175th baseball game there. We will be doing we got people that have, for that concession stand that we're going to use mobile down where they're going to play. All of our people are going to be dressed up in old baseball garb stuff when they're selling the food and stuff like that. So that'll be kind of a fun thing to do. We got a lot of people that are interested in helping that. Also, we are helping at the upcoming July 26th event that I'm sure Chad will talk about later on, but we'll have a bunch of the girls that are in the older age groups that want to come down and help do drills for them. They're very, very excited about that. So we want to support that as an endeavor. So that's all I got. Any questions?
Yeah, the product you're bringing in, is that a heavier weight so it won't blow away as well?
No, I mean, there's nothing really heavy that you can put on there that's safe enough for the girls. It's just a product of that field being open. And you know as well as I do, when you're down there, once the wind starts kicking across that field, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to do that. It's just a product of being in that wide open field. We try to do the best we can to keep it wet. I know Chad was over there, and I don't know if he can give an update. I know that they're working on the underground watering system so that we could water the fields. We've got fire hose that we purchased. We've got a hose that we can wet it down. What we try to do is we try to be good neighbors to the Keystone FC people. And a lot of times when it gets really, really dry, and now that it's not Dymatex, it's dirt. We could wait, people are over there playing soccer, and if we're dragging the field to try to get it softened enough, the dust just covers everybody in the soccer fields. And we try not to do that. And if we can wet it, we tried a pull behind little wagon thing we purchased off of Facebook Marketplace, but that was not enough. It just dribbled out, and it didn't get the field wet enough to be able to do that. So we got to find other means to be able to continue to wet the fields and turn them over. But a lot of times, if it's like a windy day and we're not down there, there's nothing you can do to stop the dust or the dirt from flying off. So, and we just got to keep up with it. It's as it every year, if we haven't added it, and we haven't added it to a couple of fields in probably 2 years, if you don't keep up with it, it just blows right off.
The reason I ask, maybe Chad, there is a local area company that has ball mix, but it's a little higher in clay content that might be a little heavier. That's what was used in Silver Spring. Maybe Tyler could give you a reference. I'm just looking for any kind of solution at all, because this is a problem that's not going away. I honestly don't know. That product would be put down at Stony Ridge Park in Silver Spring Township, which is wide open like Winding Hills, and I'm sure gets the same wind. It's the only thing I can think of to suggest to take a look at.
Yeah.
You know, Dymatex that's Dymatex. It's a standard, so.
Yeah.
I get that, but,
If you guys have any other ideas or solutions, I'd be more than willing to do that. I know I just saw coming down through, boys baseball's they have piles of Dymatex on right now. It's just something, these fields don't get just used by the girls softball. Like I was over there the other day and there was 2 kickball games on one field and there's a family out playing and they were having
yeah,
and the guy,
good.
all the time there's, and I had to stop them because they were smacking the things into the brand new fence that they just got done fixing. But the Crew K, those guys play the bat, whatever that is, where the bigger stick is cricket. Is that what it is? Cricket. Yeah. They play cricket all the time out there right now when the girls aren't on them fields. And yeah, but they were doing and they were practicing and they were throwing it. And one thing we don't do is we have bow nets that we hit into, that the girls hit into. We don't hit into the fence. Chad just spent, I'm not know how much money fixing a lot of the fences that were bad, but a lot of that's not coming from us. It's from the girls softball, but you can go out there and find a kid just wanting to hit a ball and he doesn't have a net and they hit it into the fence. That just causes that damage nonstop. So, yeah, I just want to make sure, but if you guys know of anything else that could help us
That's all I
curtail,
got.
we're just trying to do the safety, trying to keep the fields playable enough that we don't get, with the people want to come and play. And now the bases, our bases are all breakaway bases. So when the girls slide into it, the top part of it slides off. Well, because the dirt is now so low, if you go out there right now and you pop our bases in, you'll see the metal part is sticking up because the dirt is so low. We've lost that much Dymatex that now instead of the girl sliding when she slides to go into the base, instead of just hitting the top part of the big breakaway base, she would actually be sliding into the metal receiver part, which is not, it's like a hard plastic, which is not safe anyway. So we're trying to stop that, and we got to get that 90 bags. We got to spread that out around the fields to curtail that. Thank you.
Well, give it a shot. Eddie, do we have cricket permitting a field?
Last year I met with a gentleman that was interested in starting it, but he ended up going to somewhere out in Harrisburg for it. So no one
You're
else
not
has
currently using the field?
reached out to me for that.
Mr. Salter, are they on the field now? Casual? Casual?
Yeah, they've been on there last 3 weeks.
One of the problems we have with cricket is we don't have the space for the size of field that they need right now.
I know.
So we did talk to one of the groups about possibly being able to use the new open space when that gets put in.
There's a very large community that likes cricket in the Harrisburg area. There's an association I worked with that they were big and there was a lot of interest. I tried to work with them, but field space is precious, so that didn't work out. But you have a cricket pitch that takes a good amount of area.
One last thing, Chad, kudos to you getting the fields done, but one thing we historically ran into a problem was bees nesting in the pipes of all of the fields around. So when Chad had the company come out to do that, they filled it all with spray foam. So now we have no more bees. I haven't got stung this year, which is great. Normally I'm out, like right now, I'm pulling weeds and fixing the tops of we fixed the whole barrier side, but normally I get stung by bees, but they filled them in with spray foam, so it's a whole lot safer for everybody now.
Yeah, I deal with that at the info sign at the dog park, where I sprayed them and then did the dance. They haven't been back. Thank you, Jim. It sounds like a lot of good stuff's going on. Any other public comment? How about commissioners? What do you have to share this evening?
I don't have anything.
All right, thank you. Moving quickly along, Tim.
Just want to remind everyone about the Banwango Parks Pass, which Jeff just signed up for today, which, you know, I thought you signed up for months ago, but it's okay.
Oh, take your shot. Go ahead. young
Since the
guys.
newsletter went out, we have had a large increase of signups. I think we're at about 500, which is pretty neat.
500. That's
yeah,
amazing.
People are starting to come in and redeem their points for prizes. So it's been a success so far. That's all I have.
My wife's on it and I hear about it every day. And she loves it. Chad,
Just a couple project updates. July 9th, we have the pre-construction meeting with Kinsley for Grantham, and they're looking to move in July 14th and start that project. So, and they have, I think, 120 days for that. So hopefully that gets wrapped up early fall. The train viewing area down at Whining Hill, we have that area excavated and the pad put in. The gazebo for that should be arriving first week of July. And the fitness area at Whining Hill, we started that excavation and we're hoping to have that done by the end of July also.
all right. The dredged material from Grantham, is that still going to Winding Hill? And are we going to test it per
Yeah, I mean,
Commissioner Walsh's
Yeah.
valid
It has to be tested through the DEP permit anyway, so as long as it passes, it's going there.
Okay. Eddie,
What I have is further down the agenda.
okay. Tiffany, you're up. Looks pretty good. You guys are working.
Yeah, June, remember, I feel like in May, I said, oh, I hope it stops raining. Well, now I hope it stops being 100 degrees. You know, like Goldilocks around here. But yeah, so I shared the numbers just because it was easier than just sharing our top programs, just so you can see all of the programs. So I'm going to highlight how many programs. So these were just programs that started in June. Most of our programs didn't start till June 9th. So we had 8 adult programs, not counting the volleyball tournament, 16 youth programs, not including summer adventure camp and the playground program, and the outdoor pool that Sue helps manage. So we have a lot going on in the month of June. We've been really, really busy. So I wanted to just highlight all of the programs so you could kind of see what all is occurring. The Digs in the Dirt, I do want to highlight, it does support the Mechanicsburg boys volleyball team. And so it was hosted at Winding Hills. I had an opportunity to stop by. Thankfully, it was in between the rain because the Saturday they were there, the first Saturday of June, and it was pouring on them. Then it was beautiful sunshine, 1,000 degrees, and then pouring on them. So I came just in the middle. But so we had 54 teams, which is great. Again, like I said, it's a fundraiser for the high school boys. So they really appreciate being able to come out. And the adults love playing in the triples tournament. It's kind of something that's not often offered. A lot of times it's doubles or quads that is offered. So just thank you to you guys from the school just for letting the high school boys have their tournament. It's a great time for all of them, and 54 teams is quite a few people playing volleyball. Summer programs, like I said, they're kind of in full swing. I want to highlight the musical theater camp. I'll make sure to get you guys the times, but they will be putting on a show July 10th and 11th. And it will be at the high school. The theme, is that a theme? I don't know. What do you call it? They're doing Dare to Dream Disney is what's going to be the production. So it's a really fun variety show. So they got started this week. Thankfully, they're inside, so we didn't have to move them anywhere. They're there. Summer Adventure Camp just began June 9th. You can see, I just listed the number of total kids enrolled in each program. We have the Pathfinders and Trailblazers average about 55 kids a day, and Explorers is at 35 to 40, and Quest is usually around 20, but this is just an overall how many kids individuals are enrolled for the summer. The playground program, so last week was the first week we offered it. We didn't have it on Thursday because of Jubilee Day. What I really want to highlight about it is 80 lunches were provided the first week to kids that came to the program and opted into the free lunch program. So I think that's, something that makes our program a little bit unique, and that they have the opportunity to, they get a couple options they get to choose from. But we have been running it this week when we can from 9 to 12 to try to get the lunches, the opportunity to serve the lunches. So we're super thankful to have that program. And the registration this year, they did register 2 weeks before, the Sunday 2 weeks before. Registration's going great. Some families have, just are thankful that their kid has a spot because there was a little bit of a wait list whenever we opened all the weeks for everybody. And so I think that it's worked out really nicely for the families that need it. And maybe, they're not people aren't registering for the entire summer when they're not coming. So we're seeing more kids coming that are registered. So that's good. And we do have a backup system if somebody shows up and they aren't on the list, kind of have a paper for their family to fill out and make sure we have information. So it's going great. And then, hard to believe, fall program planning is already beginning. So we're starting all of our summer programs and starting to work on the fall. Our target date is to have everything out by the middle of August in everybody's mailbox. So we're already starting to work on fall programming. So if you know anybody interested in offering a program, let me know. And we'll be collecting information from the township as well if they want us to publish anything in our newsletter that goes out. So that's what I have. Any questions?
Questions?
All right, thank you.
I love it. And I enjoy some of the program titles too.
Yeah, they're super fun.
I really do. All right, thank you. Playgrounds where I started, boy. All right, let's take a look at our park sites, see how we're doing with that. Nick, what do you see?
Yeah, Friendship and Rose Garden look great. I know that you guys had filled in that one little bit by the basketball court at Rose Garden, so appreciate you doing that. Thank you. Know it's been really hot, but I've seen people out and using them, so even in the heat, we're still enjoying them. So thank you.
All right, Country Estates. It's small neighborhood park, not used very much, but it's in really good shape. McCormick, I've been down 4 times this week, just taking a 5-mile-an-hour drive. How many roads in this township can you go 5 miles an hour without somebody, 4 feet from your bumper? I'm seeing waiters, fishers, people with their lawn chairs sitting in the creek. It hasn't been extremely crowded, but I haven't gone on a weekend when it's 90 degrees. But that is a special park. That is a very special drive. Dog park. As I said, it'll be 7 years since it's been open next week. And it is used, you're seeing dogs, this is terrible, dogs age out. They get older or they are not with us anymore. And those owners, some of those aren't coming anymore. But after 7 years, you kind of see this cycle going. It doesn't have to be advertised. The word of mouth is out there. It pretty much sits at 250 registrants. Please don't call them members because this is a public agency and it's a registration fee. That's something from Carmen and I. But everybody's getting along pretty well. We did have one dog that was not getting along and per policy had to leave. But that's only the second one in 7 years. That, I think, folks, is remarkable considering other people that we talk to that have a dog park. The social aspect, I like going there because just talking to people, you understand that some people meet there every day at the same time, same day of the week. They communicate on their own little system on Facebook. There's well over 1,000 visits on the Facebook site that is set up for the dog park. So I couldn't be more pleased with this. Kudos again to Scott Frazier because he did it right and he listened, and people will compare that to other dog parks in the agency, and they come to us. Most of our registrants I know are township residents, but we see people from Hamden, Silver Spring, Lower Allen, certainly. And actually, someone comes from Dauphin County. So that's just what I've seen. For the dog park, that is probably it. The information board, the cork is pulling away from the back. I'm gonna go down there when it's not a heat stroke issue and remove the cork and replace it. I can do that. Parks doesn't have to do it. And put up the signage we have down there again. That includes a QR code to go straight to the township dog park website. It includes the protocol for dogs that aren't, that bite another dog or a person. And T-shirts, which we're still trying to sell. But we have a meeting this month and I can't remember what my wife told me, so you know, it's coming up shortly. How about Lauren?
Grantham Park looked great. The fence around the play area, it looks amazing. And it reminded me that like maybe the geese won't go in there unless they can work the fence, the gate. But I mean, it's open, but I feel like that will legit keep it cleaner in that way. The cameras that are there, when did the cameras go in?
Yeah, they're no.
Okay, and was the AED, was that put in at the same time or have I just been missing that?
No, that's new too.
Thank you, good. Everything else looks really good. It looks really inviting for parents and it's very dry, you know, we've talked, like, we have all these future plans, so some of this is kind of pointless, like the walk around the pond gets very, there's a lot of roots. So no one, it's a dangerous walk back there, but I know that we're in progress with that. So I'm aware that that's not going to stay that way, but that's kind of what it is at the moment. And the only other thing is that the welcome sign at the playground is like moving, like it might need some cement. That's it.
All right. Go.
Great. All right, Trout Run looks good. My daughter and I walked back the path, which was kind of cool. It's quiet, but. And then Simpson, you might say that, you know, your park along the creek is the best, but I would say Simpson is the best. Yeah, it just looks
Okay.
great. Lots of visits.
Thank you. And Jessica can't be with us. Jason?
Fisher is always in good shape. Baseball, kids, splash pad. Yeah, I saw something on Facebook about the misters or something. They were working every time I went by there, so I'm not sure if there was,
We had to make a minor repair to the one, so.
okay. So otherwise, you know, everything's great there. Miller's Crest, the basketball court looks really nice. Still too hot for the kids to use it, but when they do, it'll be in great shape. And then Kosher, I went through, it's, you know, it's kosher, you know, not remarkable, but it's not awful. So it's, you know, the trails that the school district has gone through the trees and stuff is pretty cool. And I know there's plans to spruce it all up, so hopefully that comes to be.
Yeah, I noted with Fisher, obviously with a high temperature, I saw an older lady out in the middle of one of the bollards getting soaked today, a little later this afternoon. Everybody's using it. You saw some comments where something might have been broken. I have seen a young, unsupervised young man karate kicking the Bullard switches. You know, I was impressed that he could get his leg, you know, that hard. But he didn't respond well to my comment, but that's okay too. I just think the heavy use, every time I drive by, it's wet down there. You guys know that. But I just want to mention in the meeting how heavily it is used and what a great investment that was. What was the total cost for that? 45?
Yeah, 40, 45. We did it in-house.
I mean, that's a steal, folks. Thank you. Dan?
Similarly to that, Winding Hill getting plenty of usage despite the heat, but there's places to go there that works. Plenty of people out still, and I did see the prep for the train viewing area, so looks good as always.
And we don't have it on here yet, but Generations is getting a lot of use. I know it's more in the morning. There's a lot of dog walkers. And the Women's Club, that was one of their sites to walk, and they were pretty impressed with it. So I think people are using it, just not this week. Let's look at Generations. Before I ask you guys to report, does anybody have any suggestions? Remember, I wanted suggestions. Anybody thought of something that might be put on a list that we might do in-house? Anybody have anything? As always, I have something to say. I think with all the interest in the history of that farm, and some resident came here to a BOC meeting and mentioned having a display or something that was out there for the history of the park. So I want to add to the list a larger front and back maybe sign. You know, one of the ones you maintain, like we have a small one at the dog park, but something with information there that I'm sure we could get friends of the farm. We can get people to draft something up, pieces that could be placed in there, but that could be done in-house and it won't be cheap because those signs cost a lot. But I just think we need to recognize the history of that area and give folks that are really into that some input and effect. Generations, gentlemen.
One thing, and you kind of mentioned it, we probably should assign that to one of you guys for the park inspections now that it's open.
Anybody want to?
I can take it.
All
That's
right.
good.
All right, so Lauren's got Generations. So you understand you have to park and walk a couple of miles. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. Don't talk to me about scooters, boy, I'll tell you. All right, what else, guys?
The only other thing really to update, the farmer did come in and cut and was bailing, so that got cut down. I think he's only doing it one time this year, so especially with the weather, didn't really help this spring.
I think it's important to note that this is not going to be a park where everything is mowed. There'll be a lot of acreage that are natural meadows for the ecosystems. I think there's several ecosystems there, including wetlands. There's a lot of people that are into birds. And my comment to one woman was, well, this was a construction site for a year with major equipment and the birds came back. So I understand your concern about having pathways go through there, but that gets people out. But I don't think it's going to really disturb most birds considering what we had in the last year. But that was just my comment. But I was over there the other day, as you well know, and it looks good. It really does. Anybody else been over there lately? Oh, homework.
I downloaded the Park Pass months ago or when it was open. So yes, I visited and got my points and redeemed for a shirt. So,
Okay.
and my kids keep telling me, keep going. So, yeah.
Keep going. Okay.
Going.
That's nice to work with you. I'm
Yeah.
a little shamed. Mr. Cochran. Does that say something about you? I have all kinds of stuff to say. I'm gonna let it go till later.
Are you back live, Tim?
Is it on generator?
It was,
Felt like that kind of
it was
delay.
before, but. Okay. I just, I wanted to ask a question about generations.
Address, please.
Jim Cochran, 34 Allison Avenue, sorry. I think we have some wildflower areas, and I understand you don't want to plant those while there's construction going on, but I'm wondering now that the construction is done, is there a plan to start doing some of the wildflowers and some of those kind of things in the next year or so?
Yeah, I was gonna ask for that at budget for us to, that's something we can do in-house next year. Just basically buy the seed mix and kind of renovate the areas.
I'd love to see something put out to the public so they can have some input on, sounds silly, what type of wildflowers, obviously, those that are native, but it'd be nice to keep people involved as we go, and that's a fairly simple thing to do.
Yeah, we have connections with Birdtown that we were talking
Yeah.
to, and we also have the Game Commission that donated the Chimney Swift Tower, and we also have another birdhouse set up for Purple Martins down at Whiting Hill when that construction's done, but we're gonna get some input from them as well.
One person was asking me about bat boxes with the mosquitoes. You get the wetlands area, you're gonna have some biters.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Scout project, I don't,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you, Jim. Anything else for generations?
This may or may not be.
It's okay by me.
Last thing people saw, Jim walking up to
They-
all your fault.
I'm sorry, Tim, go ahead. All right, we can say whatever we want now. All right, if nothing else on Generations Park. It's exciting. I encourage people to go out and take the walk. My dog loves it. We will finish up with new business. The events, Eddie, what's going on? I've seen some new stuff.
I'm stealing his thunder for a minute,
Well, he is shy.
if I could find it. So we're gonna do a field day on July 26th down at Whiting Hill. It's gonna be multiple yard games, sports activities, and then ending with a kids versus adult water balloon fight. The event's being held in cooperation with Extra Life, Mechanicsburg Rec, Up Around Girls Softball, and Keystone Soccer. Mechanicsburg Rec, Up Around Girls Softball, and Keystone are gonna provide volunteers to run all the games. Extra Life is a program that's involved with the Children's Miracle Network. They started in 2008, raised over $132 million for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Their main program focus is video games and board games and like live streaming. And I met Jen at the Disability Resource Fair back in the spring, and we talked a little bit, and she kind of had this idea, and we wanted to see how it would go. This is the first time their office is going to do something like this, so it actually has national attention from their group. So all eyes are on us for the first one. And the only other thing we are asking for donations for, which will go to the Children's Miracle Network.
Great. This Friday, food truck.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go over a few upcoming events here. So this Friday, we do have Food Truck Friday, which has been going very well. I think Whiting Hills Park is a great location for it. Everyone has been raving about it. And also, we now have music by Two of a Kind and Cahoots, which people get their food and go over to the playground and sit down and listen to music while they're eating. So it's been welcomed very well, I think. So this Friday, we will have 6 trucks.
Wow.
So I think just about every other week, I'm getting more and more emails from new trucks, old trucks wanting to be there. We just don't want to put too many trucks out there at a time, just to make sure everyone's getting their fair share. So the list for this year is filled up, but I do have a waiting list so for next year. Street Tuesday is also going well between both trucks, switching from Friendship and Whiting Hill. They're both having just as much luck, I would say, on rainy days, just as well as these hot days that we're having. No complaints from either of the vendors there. This Sunday, June 29th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the Art in the Park event at Whiting Hills Park North. It's going to be from, once again, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. 2 food trucks, the same food trucks that were at the Generations grand opening, J&D Cheesesteaks and East Coast Mini Donuts. So come out and get some painting done if you guys want. July 11th at Friendship at 6 p.m. Movie in the park. Once again, that is up to 2.5 thousand people interested for Moana 2. Past 2 years, Alba Orthodontics has hosted this, and they've done a great job at pulling people in and giving away free glow sticks, free popcorn, and a couple other trinkets throughout the night. The movie starts at dusk, and the food trucks will be there all night. We have 4 food trucks for this movie night. And then last but not least for right now, the Fall Fest. We've pretty much wrinkled out most of the details of the Fall Fest, the layout, and the food trucks, and just about every aspect of the Fall Fest. So more details come on that once it gets closer, but I think we're pretty much where we want to be with the planning for this.
Great.
That's all I have.
Welcome to the world of recreation programming.
Thanks.
I don't know if that means a change in title or not, but I'm loving it. Any comments on these events?
Look great.
Yeah, thank you.
What's the emergency light display? Like sirens going off?
It's the emergency vehicles like last year, every so often, I think we did every hour or so last year, or twice, they turned all their emergency lights on. So pretty much just for a quick display.
All right, anything else? Sir? Do you get to turn the lights on the fire truck?
No,
No.
I get to take care of these guys as the concession stand is open. So, and we're always happy to help the township with that. One thing, I was at the scooter talk 2 Mondays ago. I just want to put it on the record, Jim Salter, 8 Bradford Court. But just concern as a person that's at the parks a lot. They're saying that there's 2 modes of being able to utilize scooters safely. Funny thing is, I saw a bunch of them loading up their backpacks, getting ready to go to park events today, riding their scooters down Cannonberry Drive. But the one thing that was said was the 2 places they can safely or legally use them is in our park system and on private property. I just think the board or the Park and Rec board should probably come up with something about scooters in the park, because I can tell you e-bikes and scooters have been an issue in the past. Just with me, people have come over because I ride the gator around and doing different things, and they think I'm in charge of the parks, and I tell them I'm not. I'm just here for softball. But kids, dangerously driving while people are trying to walk their dogs. One of them actually ran over, had the dog in between the person and the dog leash and got caught up, and the dog luckily didn't get hurt as they were riding their scooter. But that's something you're going to have to, I think, if the police department and they push the kids to the parks, there's going to have to be something addressed in that manner about the use of these e-bikes and scooters. Terrorizing, on the softball fields, you go out there to drag the field or to get them. I know the younger kids take the plugs out, but you'll go out there and you'll find, spin outs on all the fields. We're talking about the Dynatex being disturbed, but a lot of times they're going to ride their bikes on those fields, and they do that way. They do it on the basketball courts. Every time I see them, I go over and tell them they can't be on the basketball courts with their bikes and their scooters. So it's just something you're going to probably have to address.
Well, I went to that session as well, and I was kind of surprised that the police interpretation was that they could use these scooters in the parks, but not on the roadways. That didn't surprise me. I know that's illegal by state law, I believe, from what I heard. I know that I live close to the end of East Meadow Drive, which is a wonderful road if you're a skateboarder or somebody that wants to have a straight shot downhill. And my wife's almost been hit by an e-bike on the sidewalk and by a scooter on the sidewalk. And just yesterday, I saw someone on a scooter. I mean, he could not have gotten that going any faster, right down the middle of East Meadow Drive. Now, the sad part is sometimes that takes care of itself. I know there were parents here of kids that had scooters that live in Meadowview. So I don't know what's being said to some of these children because they're early teens. But it is an issue, but it is more, I believe, and you all put your 2 cents in here, it's more of a kind of a police question. They did an excellent presentation. And I meant to talk to you at that, but I'm a snob. I don't know what the fix is. I have seen during baseball games, particularly when it's high level, cars parked up and down East Meadow and West Meadow, tournaments and so forth, scooters going much more quickly than I would think would be possible between people on the pathways. Now, we have nice wide asphalt pathways for safety, but these are just accidents waiting to happen, and I know they're already happening. So I appreciate the comment. I think we have 3 commissioners here tonight, and they know they're hearing it. So that's kind of between the police and what they decide to try to enforce it. If it's up to me, these big tournaments, I'd put somebody down at the park to talk to the kids as they go by. But right now, it's one of those almost unenforceable things, I think. But thank you for your comment. You're exactly right. Mr. Cochran?
Can I just suggest like some marketing, sometimes around stuff like this? I don't know what whether this would truly help, but parents need to have a concept of this perhaps at the parent level of those kids, and in terms of like understanding what's possible at the parks. So sometimes if we have messages like this, like what's okay and what's not at the parks, like that could be something we post about. And that's only going to reach those people, but it's not nothing.
Yeah, and our current ordinance prohibits them from being in the pavilions, the courts, like basketball, tennis courts and playgrounds. But again, how do you stop all of them that are out there?
1 second before I get to you, Jim, I would say, I brought up at that meeting, hey, maybe the rec board could get with the police and the township and devise some kind of educational piece that would go out. I don't know, but it's good to bring it up because we can't let this go. I mean, we're not that far away. I'll tell you, East Meadow Drive, if you've seen those scooters, you turn the wheel just a little bit too much, you're gone. And I mean, it's a little scary. I'm pleased nothing has happened yet. Mr. Cochran.
It brought to mind the fact that I mow over at Friendship, and I've been over there a couple occasions where you have kids climbing up the outside of the climbing tower, and the parents are just sitting there watching. And I go over and say, they're really not supposed to be on the outside. Oh, they're having fun. Okay. So parents have a different idea today, I guess, than what we had. But the reason I came up was at the last board meeting, Commissioner Fairchild asked a question about water expense. And I thought, since you guys are all here and we have Chad here, Chad, can you tell us all the things that get water? I mean, the descriptor that was in the expense listing made it look like it was just for fields, but we have restrooms and concession stands, and what kind of things are we billed water for? I don't remember what the number was. Maybe Eric remembers, but it was over $1,000 worth of water. And it made me think, well, there's a lot of things I think that get water, and sometimes the descriptor that they put in the computer isn't long enough to list everything that's getting water. So maybe Chad could just
Yeah,
educate
so
us.
at Friendship, it's sectioned off where the restrooms are separate, but the misters, the water fountains and the fields are all on the same line. And then the same with like at Fisher with baseball, they have their fields irrigated as well. And then obviously the splash pad's hooked into that too. So it's kind of hard to determine which uses the most amount of water. Obviously, we do get an increase over the summer when we are watering fields. And as Jim said, as Jim Sauter said, there's water hookups down at Whiting Hill too that we use. They have been broken the last year or two, but we dug them up and we're going to try to get them fixed too this year. So we have them. We haven't really used them too much lately. Well, obviously not really much this year at all, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Mr. Fairchild?
Williams, or just to clarify, I thought the park policy was like no electric bikes on the, like the trails. I remember asking that for generation.
I don't, it's not in our ordinance anyway. I know we did talk about it at a meeting. I don't know if that was last year, because they kept destroying the basketball courts with it. But I don't know if we want to start the discussion to have that updated or not. I know last year we did approach the police about trying to regulate it at Fall Fest, but they didn't really have anything to enforce it with, so we couldn't really post about not allowing them at our event.
It's something to get ahead of, I think, especially with generations. And it's so many trails up there, and there's going to be a speedway.
I know DCNR did an update. I don't remember all the verbiage from it, but I can get that and share it as well for like their trails.
Yeah, because that, and coupled with the bad parking jobs everyone does in the park, it's just, you can't see the kid coming around a corner, and would hate for that to be the reason, the impetus to, have an ordinance is, scooping a kid up off someone's hood or something.
It gets a little tricky. I know I had some conversations on social media with a gentleman, and he had an electric bike. And there wasn't anything in the ordinance, as you say, that prohibits it, but it implies it. So maybe the township looks at that for a little clarification. I'm not sure, again, how enforceable that is, but these are issues, and within the last year or two. So, anybody have anything else?
I just thought it made
Microphone, sir, please.
Excuse me, I didn't see the light. I thought maybe we made the distinction between motorized and non-motorized. Motorized could apply to electric bikes and also the scooters.
Is it?
So
I understand.
A thought, and it's probably an area for legal research and all that as to what we can do.
Yeah, it needs to be specified, I think. Electric motor, gas motor, it's motorized, so. All right, anything else, folks? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, folks.